Hi, here we go. So we're looking at the rock cycle gizmo. And if you look here, every gizmo is going to have a prior knowledge question to start off with. It's going to focus on things we already know. And there's a list of vocabulary words that you may know of or you may not know of that you're going to encounter as you do the gizmo. If you look at number 1 here, it says what happens to hot lava after it erupts from a volcano. You're simply going to type in the box from your own knowledge, what do you think happens? We know that it would cool and harden and become rock, right? So I would type in here, it cools to become rock. You might type your own answer in there, whatever wording you want to use. How does rock turn into soil? So then you would describe how you think rock turns into soil. You should know this hopefully a little bit from even like maybe the water cycle. And then number 3 gives us a real life scenario. It says the Mississippi River carries tons of tiny rock fragments called sediments into the Gulf of Mexico. What do you think will happen to these sediments after a few million years? Well, we know that layers and layers of rock will put pressure on them, and those sediments eventually will harden deep under the ocean and become solid rock again. Okay? Then we always have the gizmo warm-up, and the gizmo warm-up is designed to show you how the gizmo works. So I'm going to go ahead and do the warm-up with you so you can see how the gizmo works, and then you guys can turn off this video and just continue this sheet on your own as you learn about the rock cycle. Over millions of years, rocks are broken down and transformed into other rocks. The rock cycle gizmo illustrates the different transformations that make up the rock cycle. Before exploring the gizmo, take a look at the image. This image is on the gizmo. And it says what types of rocks are shown. So you're looking at the labels here. You've got extrusive igneous rock, you have sedimentary rock, and metamorphic rock. And you have intrusive igneous rock. Basically anything that's labeled with the word rock, and you would type those in there, right? Number 2, it gives you the definition of magma. It says magma is molten liquid rock under the Earth's surface. Based on the image, how do you think magma turns into extrusive igneous rock? So you've got this image here, which is on the gizmo. If I look at the gizmo here, this is the same image. This is the gizmo you're looking at. Magma's here, all our types of rocks. And it's asking you, before you do the gizmo, to find out how it becomes extrusive igneous rock. If you want to find out using the gizmo, you would start at magma, right? And there are some options as to what can happen. It can crystallize below ground, or it can crystallize above ground. I'm going to go ahead and click the right one and say crystallization above ground. It tells me a little bit about magma. When I click here, now it becomes extrusive igneous rock, and it tells me how. It says when the magma cools and crystallizes above the surface, extrusive igneous rock, such as basalt or obsidian, will form. Right. So then when I go here, extrusive igneous rock, how do you think magma? Right? So I would write first what I thought would happen, and then it says to click extrusive igneous rocks button to the right of the image and ask if I was correct. So if I go back to the gizmo itself, it's actually pretty simple. Without doing the cycle, right? If I wanted to, I could go ahead and reset, like start again, right? And I could just click on wherever I wanted to start, and each station is going to describe that location, right? And then there's what can happen to it. And that's where you're going to get into, these are the things that can happen to rock on the surface or below the surface and make it turn into a different type of rock. And you'll learn how that works. But at any point when you're at a specific rock type, it's going to describe how that happened, right? If I start again, if I go to soil, it's going to describe how the soil existed. Right, if I go to sedimentary rock, it's going to describe how the sedimentary rock is formed. So it's pretty self-explanatory. It's not a very difficult gizmo. You'll carry on here, and you'll start with activity. It says the rock cycle, right? And you just follow these instructions and record the information in the boxes. And you're going to create multiple rock cycles to show that. And then this part you would normally draw. If you click on the the graphic image here, you should be able to actually edit this image, right? So if I click edit, I can actually draw the arrows in myself using the image itself. I can go arrow, and I can draw however my arrows are. Whatever that is, right? So backspace, backspace, backspace. That's how you can do that on the computer. Yeah, and so you'll go through these different types of cycles. You're just going to kind of explore how the rock cycle works to learn about it, and then we'll discuss it more tomorrow. Thank you.